The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's presentation with your host, Craig Proctor.
Well, got an exciting guest today. I've got Mr. Todd Walters, our Platinum Coach from Atlanta, Georgia, with us today. Todd, welcome to the webinar.
Craig, it is really awesome to be here. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you, the coaching program members. So thanks for inviting me.
Well, look, today I want to share with everybody some great marketing ideas, and Todd's been kind enough to select his top five. I don't know if they're the top five, but five great marketing concepts that we want to share with you. We're going to leave plenty of time for Q&A. Okay, so we're going to go to today's topic, which is direct response lead generation, part 2. So we've had our part 1. So you're going to go to resources, and today we're on call 10, direct response lead generation. So I'm just going to share with you briefly some of the reading that you can do on this topic. We're starting off with background, giving you really some universal truths about marketing, that nobody really cares about us, nobody clearly remembers who we are. No one clearly remembers what you said last week in the newspaper. No one has to listen to you. No one has any time for you. So, you know, we're up against all of this when it comes to marketing and advertising. And we've spent a lot of time focusing on what your ads need to do, that your ads need to focus and talk to prospects. Your advertising can't be about you, even your branded advertising. Todd, maybe you can talk a little bit about the difference between branding and USP advertising.
Yeah, no question. One of the things that I learned from you early on, Craig, that made a huge impact in my real estate career was that being different, standing out above the other real estate agents was essential, but the way to stand out and attract more business was to actually give people a really good reason to remember me. Like one of the exercises that I do at some of the coaching boot camps is I asked the members in attendance to hand me some business cards. So they all are quick to pass their business cards up to me. And I look at the business card, and I'll look at the person. Let's suppose the person is Susie. So I look at Susie. Okay, Susie Smith. I'm looking at your business card here. You're with, you know, Remax or whatever, and I've got your phone number here, Susie. Okay, Susie, why should I list my house with you over and above anybody else or any other option? And Susie typically has, because they're a member, they have a pretty good answer for that. But I look back at her business card and I said, well, Susie, you're not telling me that story or making me any kind of offer like that or giving me that reason when I look at your business card. So your brand essentially is why people will choose to do business with you or choose to list their house with you or choose to call you over and above any other agent or any other option. That really essentially should be the brand. But for whatever reason in our industry, and you know, most other real estate companies would have the agents believe, not all, but most would have the agents believe that the brand is a logo or a picture of the agent or the agent's name. And that can be, but it doesn't offer any differentiation or difference between all of the other real estate agents available in the marketplace. So when I remember the day I had my business cards printed, and right next to my picture, it said, your home sold or I'll buy it. To discuss the sale of your home, call Todd at this number and start packing. That was the business card. And it didn't take long, Craig, for me to be known as the guy that will guarantee the sale of your house. And if it doesn't sell, he'll buy it. That was my brand. That's what I was known for in North Metro Atlanta. And, went on to become celebrity even in the industry and in the marketplace. And, of course, listing more homes every month than any other real estate agent in the entire state of Georgia. And that was essentially my brand. So, yeah, there is a difference between traditional brand and unique selling proposition. And what we teach people, especially at the platinum level, is that, look, your brand really is your unique selling proposition. The better you are at telling that story, wherever your smiling face is, the more business that you're going to get.
Okay, very good. And I think we would all agree with exactly what you said there. Tracking and testing is something that's crucial to a realtor's success with this program. Our top members, they all know their numbers. They know their numbers very well. And because you can track, you can test. And we should be continually experimenting with different ads, with different media, targeting different markets, different target markets, to determine where we're going to get our very best results. Talk to me about examples of testing and tracking that you've done in your own personal real estate business, and how you did a lot of learning from that and ended up making a lot more money while at the same time actually spending less on marketing.
Well, one of the things that one of the rules, that we coach by, that you beat into my head a long time ago, and that it permeates well into the platinum level program, and you talk about it here in the coaching program extensively, is that if you can't measure it, you really don't do it. So I'll give you a good example. When I get on the phone with a...
Say that again, because that's really gets to the heart of the matter. Yeah, if you can't measure it,
you don't do it. Right. So it forces you to measure everything that you do, which simply is just tracking. So a good example would be is that a new member jumps into the platinum program. I'm on the phone with them, and we're working on their business. And my first question is, hey, where did your last 5 closings come from? And they'll tell me, well, I had one come from this and one come from that. Somebody will say, well, it came from the internet. And I'm like, well, the internet's a pretty big place. Like, where on the internet? Well, I got it through my website. Well, how did they get to your website? Well, I'm not really sure. So, things like that. Or, I had 3 closings that were referral. Well, how did the people know to refer you? When did they know to refer you? And when you start asking those kinds of questions, you realize simply that you don't really know where a lot of the business is coming from. You got good ideas of it. And as our members grow their real estate business, and they delegate more and more and more of the business to other agents on their team that they're bringing in, profit becomes very important, even more important than when you're a solo agent. When you're all by yourself and you and your assistant, you kind of know what's going on. You got a pretty good idea of where everything is. But once you start to delegate things out, and you're giving away half the commission to salespeople, knowing where the business is coming from, knowing what's working and not working, so you can spend more money and time on what is, improving that, and less money and time on what's not, it's crucial. It's critical to profitability. So simple example would be is when I see in agents' marketing materials, and they've got their website, Craig, that says www.toddwalters.com. Well, it seems that toddwalters.com shows up everywhere. It's on their for sale sign, it's on their business card, it's on their flyers, it's on their marketing, it's online, it's offline, it's everywhere. So they're getting traffic to their website, but they don't know which one of those marketing sources it's coming from, if it's even coming from those sources at all, because they can't measure it. So it's as simple as, maybe on my for sale signs it says newhotlisting.com versus toddwalters.com. And then maybe on my flyers to expireds and FSBOs, it's twnewhotlisting.com. I don't have to change the URL much, but I can change it just enough so that I can track where the business is coming from through that as an example of measuring your marketing. Now, you're probably going to talk about this. I know we don't have a lot of time to spend on it, but that's knowing where the leads come in. But when they go into your contact management system, you taught me how to do this, is to create a pick list. So when my admin person was putting leads into my contact management system, they source coded every lead that went into the system from where they came from.
Why is having a pick list important versus just having your administrative person, typing in where the lead came from?
Good question. Because every month, around the middle of the month, I want to see a sales report from the previous month, knowing where our closings come from. So when you do a group search, you're going to miss many of the leads if the source code is different. If one source code says Google and the other source code said Google pay-per-click, it may have been the same source, but that means I would have to search for Google pay-per, every term or everything. So we got to take human error out of it and just use the same code, the same pick list, the same word for every tag.
Right. So it forces your administrative person to select one from a pick list. They can't mislabel or describe something slightly different. The sources will be there for them to pick from. They're forced to pick one. Then once a month or once a quarter or at the end of each year, you know exactly where your leads come from. Now let's talk about this. When you were doing that, okay, and a lot of our members aren't, so this is really an important thing to talk about. A lot of our members, they don't really understand where the majority of their business comes from. And what we found, Todd, with my business and your business and with our most successful members is 70 to 80% of all of their business comes from very few things. And I want everyone to think about this. You need to identify those few things, and you need to do more of it. You need to do what's working well over and over and over again. We need focus in this business. We need to be super focused on the activities that create most of our income. Now, you can't be focused on those activities until you identify those opportunities. You need to understand where most of your business is coming from. You see, most real estate agents do the opposite. Okay, they dilute their effectiveness by trying to do a whole bunch of different things, but they're doing those things not very well. Okay, all the leverage comes from determining what your most productive activities are and then really keying in on those and repeating them over and over and over and over again. If we take a look at Warren Buffett, okay, arguably the greatest investor of our time, he has a methodology that he uses when he evaluates the worth of a business. Okay, he may not be good at a lot of things, but he's really, really good at applying this formula that's worked well for him. Okay, so he's really, really good at this one thing that he applies over and over and over and over again. If, Todd, you're a big baseball fan, right? And I think you would agree that most great pitchers, they have 3 or 4 pitches and that are most effective for them. And they work on it and practice and work and perfect those 3 or 4 pitches. And that's what they go to. They go to the pitches that they're the best at, the pitches that are most effective. What I found earlier in my career is I was spending a lot of time distracted by activities that were not huge money makers. I'm not suggesting no business came in from these other activities, but proportionally it didn't make sense. So that would be my wish for all of you, as you become much, much better at tracking, because when you're better at tracking, it'll give you the ability to test different things. And then because you're entering a source code into your contact management system, if it's Google pay-per-click, you can do a search at the end of the year and find out what percentage of your transactions came from Google pay-per-click. But if you do this, what you'll find is 70 to 80% of your business will come from 4 or 5 things. And that's what you want. It's once you have that information, you can do good things with it. So Todd, let's switch gears here now. And you've picked out some strategies that our top members are using. I asked you to pick out the top 5 strategies that our platinum members have been using. So I'm going to give you control of the webinar here. Andrew, if we can do that. We'll go over to Todd's computer. Okay, so Todd, you've got control of this. And let's have a look at these top 5 marketing ideas. And we appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today. Okay, Todd, so we should be looking at your screen now, right?
Yep. I should be able to see it there. So a postcard that I helped Warren with. But hey, when I come, it's okay with you, Craig. I'm gonna bring along some of the materials that we're looking at here today, but I'll bring others. I'll bring along the Platinum program's top picks for getting listings, and there's about 12 of them, and we should be able to provide that with the members so they can work on copy and implementing there. So, but you got to be there to get them. So I'll bring those along. That'll be a lot of fun. Hey, another thing we've discovered, Craig, this is interesting for everybody knows that on average, for all the Platinum guys that do really well, 7-figure income earners there, I've been able to determine that on average, you only need 7 measurable marketing systems to make 7-figure income. That's the average number. So you don't need 12, 15, all these different marketing things like you just talked about, really good at a few. So, but that's the average number. Some guys are doing it with 5, some guys are doing it with 9 or 10, but on average it's 7. 7 measurable marketing systems for a 7-figure income. So that should help everyone out there as we look at that. All right, now, yes, we know the value of a unique selling proposition. We touched on that just a little bit ago. And there is a secret sauce to unique selling proposition. You know, like if somebody asked Warren here, we're looking at his postcard, hey, Warren, why should I list my house with you over and above anybody else or any other option? So I was having this conversation with Warren about his performance guarantee, and he told me straight up, I'm sending this postcard out, not this one you're looking at, but another one. I'm sending this postcard out I think I should be getting more business from it. I said, okay, well, zip it over to me, Warren. So he sends me the postcard, and I look at it, and I'm like, you know what, it's got your performance guarantee on it, you got a pretty decent call to action. I said, but in the environment that you're operating in, maybe it doesn't go far enough. Maybe you're not telling enough of your story. Like there's so much more to the secret sauce of unique selling proposition. Your home sold, guaranteed, or I'll buy it is a performance guarantee, also known as your unique selling proposition. But doesn't it work like this? Whenever somebody says, hey, Warren, what do you do for a living? And then Warren says, well, I've got a real estate sales team, and we guarantee the sale of our clients' homes, and if they don't sell, we'll step in and buy them ourselves. And then the next question, Warren, isn't always like this. Wow, how do you do that? How does that work? How can you do such a thing? Isn't that the follow-up question to ask? He said, yes, always. I said, well, you know what? Maybe you should go ahead and get into that language and information on your postcard. So you got plenty of room here. It's a jumbo card. So let's just talk about the secret sauce of unique selling proposition. Like, why is it that a seller would choose to do business with us over and above anybody else or any other option? And there's several reasons. Number one, the reason you list me is because we're going to get you more money. We can sell your home in less time. Your home is just more likely to sell. And here's all these people that we've done business with before that will testify to that in their own words. And look, and if we don't,
I really like the testimonials. One of the biggest marketing mistakes that individuals and companies make is they don't offer any proof. If you agree that the number one trend in the country today is skepticism, we have to back up every claim that we make with some proof. So I really like the fact that Warren's not only got a shocking headline, but you can assume that people will be skeptical. Your home sold at a price acceptable to you, guaranteed, or I'll buy it for cash. How does that work? Well, he's backing that up with specific testimonials that cause the skeptical prospect. If they can't eliminate this, what do they have to do? They have to respond, right? And they have to respond even if in the back of their mind they think this is a gimmick or they're skeptical or whatever. They still have to respond, which is exactly what we want the postcard to accomplish.
Right. So it just goes a step further. And, of course, with 2 testimonials on the front, we'll flip it over to the back, another testimonial on the back. He's got his call to action. And this is a big deal. Let me say this. A lot of members will have a good performance guarantee, like your home sold or I'll buy it, or your home sold at your price, I'll pay the difference. Your home sold in 30 days, I'll pay you $3,000, whatever it is. But then it just falls flat. Like their phone number may be there somewhere, or a web address may be there somewhere, but they fail to tell me what they want me to do after I read the statement.
Yeah, so no call to action.
Right, no call to action, just a phone number there. So I'm supposed to determine myself that.
Yeah,
so
well, I think the problem, Todd, is we are so close to our own business, our own marketing, that often we assume that the prospect's going to know what we want them to do, but we can't take those chances, right? We've got to tell the prospect specifically what we want them to do and why they should do it, what's in it for them.
Right, exactly what they can expect when they take that action. So Warren does a good job of that here. Now this postcard, when he sent the previous postcard, I don't have it handy, compared to this postcard, he got twice, just over 2 times the response that he was getting prior on the same dollar spent. So obviously it's a far superior card. It's got his call to action in here 3 times, backs up his performance guarantee with those secret sauce ingredients that I just talked about. So that's a great piece of marketing right there. Now Warren uses this card. He sends it to seller prospects in his database. He'll pop out 1 or 2 of the testimonials, like this one on the back here, and pop in a just sold. So a lot of guys will tell us, Craig, well, I don't have any testimonials. I haven't been collecting them. I haven't been doing this. I'm like, well, but you sold some houses, right? Yes. Have you sold any listings, in a few days for close or around or more than the asking price? Yes. I said, well, throw a picture of the house up there, put a big sold sign on it, and just state the fact. 291 Main Street, Alpharetta, Georgia, sold in 17 days for 101.5% of the asking price. So,
okay, now I'm going to encourage our members, if they have any questions on this particular marketing piece that we're talking about now, type your questions or comments into the chat, into the chat box. If you just want to type in your questions before we move on to the next marketing example, we'll take some of your questions. Hey, there was a great email, Todd, that came in from Mike Burge in Naples, Platinum member Mike Burge, and he said, I thought this was great, I think his email said something like this, I used to send out just listeds and just solds to the homes surrounding a sale or a listing, okay, and that's what we've always been taught to do. He said one of the great ideas he got at the last Platinum meeting was mailing out flyers like this and his just solds to his seller prospects. Okay, instead of just sending it randomly to the neighborhood, he has a database of hot seller prospects. These are sellers that are absolutely going to list their house in the new year, in January or February. And that's an idea that he walked away with, is instead of just sending these just solds out randomly to the neighborhood, he also includes his seller hot list database. So all these golden seller leads, these are sellers that he absolutely, no question about it, they're going to be listing their home in January, February. Every time he sells a house, they're getting these just sold. So you can imagine being his seller prospect, and every week or every other week, you're getting another just sold, or you're getting another postcard from Mike. So I just thought that was an interesting takeaway that he had, is he just felt that he wasn't, he wasn't really focusing on the sellers that he ought to be focusing on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the traditional way, and I get it, I understand, the real estate companies out there, the traditional real estate sales trainers that just try to get you to do more, is to send a just sold card with no offer to a geographic area around the property that you just sold. And never really made sense to me. I was like, well, I don't want to send something to people that I don't know if they're interested in making a move, and there's so many people that we do know they're interested in making a move. All the for sale by owners, the expired listings, the cancellations, and all the seller prospects in my database. Like, that's the list you want to go to first. And
yeah, it's almost like agents make the mistake of random marketing, just sending out random direct mail to people that haven't identified themselves as prospects. Meanwhile, they have sellers that have identified themselves as real prospects. I mean, in Mike's database, he's got dozens of sellers that 100% are going to be listing their home. They're not shy about this. They're not hiding the fact. They're absolutely going to be listing their home. They have very good reason as to why, and they're going to be listing their home. And he just felt that the random marketing that he was doing, if he just would specifically apply that marketing to the people he already had in his database, or at least include them as well as randomly sending out just listed and solds, that was a better use of his marketing dollars. So we've got a couple questions that have come in here. All right, first of all, Sandy's asking, she's saying, Craig, do you recommend that we bring our admin assistant to the boot camp if we have one? Sandy, that's a great idea. I'm going to recommend that you should all be bringing your right-hand person. Okay, if you've got somebody that's key in your business, you should bring them along, and here's why. If you've got a team, you've got an assistant, and you don't bring them, what's going to happen is this, is Todd and I, we're going to share some great ideas. We're going to get you pretty excited. And if you don't bring your key people, you're going to go back to your office the next day, and you're going to be jacked up with all these great ideas. But if your key people weren't at the seminar, then you've got to spend your energy and your time trying to get them as excited about implementing these new ideas as you are. And human nature says this. People in general, guess what? They don't really like change. So you get all excited, you're jacked up, you want to go back and implement all these ideas. And often what we're met with is resistance by our team, by our staff members, because they weren't at the seminar. They're, in fact, pulling against you, not pulling with you. Okay, we've got another question here from Nazira Jamel, and the question is, Craig and Todd, if you're just starting to use the USPs and you don't have any testimonials, then what do you suggest? Well, look, we all have to start somewhere, right? You could use a generic testimonial that's perhaps not about the USP. It's not specifically about the USP, but in reality, the best testimonials that you'll get over time will be testimonials that talk specifically about the USP that you're promoting. So when I was advertising the Guaranteed Sale program, I had one testimonial that said something like this. When we first saw Craig's Guaranteed Sale program, we were skeptical. We thought it was a gimmick. But because of Craig's program, it enabled us to buy the home of our dreams. Okay, so start off with random testimonials, but over time, as your clients start to take advantage of your USPs, make sure that you get testimonials that are specific about that USP. And these testimonials are not going to come by accident. Okay, you're going to have to ask for them. Todd, how did you get testimonials? Explain the system that you used in your office and our top members are using to really have a systematic way of obtaining awesome testimonials.
Yep. Well, it started out by if I wanted to roll out marketing and I didn't have any testimonials like from people, I still had what I mentioned a few minutes ago, facts on my side. So like on your screen here, you know, this is exactly where we started. Okay, and I got this right out of your testimonial book, which was just a statement of fact. You know, so we would throw a picture of the house in there, put a big sold stamp right on top of it, and then we would list the fact, you know, that we sold the house for in a short period of time for at or around or above the asking price. So that was the first place we started, right? And then aggressively going after testimonials was not real hard to do. We just simply asked for them. But and it's like you said, when we first started out asking for them, sure, you know, testimonials fine. We were always having people compliment us, you know, each month on the job we were doing. They would send a note over or an email over, or they would tell us on the phone. If they told us on the phone, we'd just say, hey, can you put that in writing for us? Do you mind, you know, zipping that over? And they would do that. And then that started our collection of testimonials. Then it led to, hey, do you mind if we get a picture of you in front of your house, and we can use that picture in association with those words? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and even we after taking their picture, the next step was to shoot a small video, a short video that we could use in our listing presentation.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would use that in my listing presentation if at the end of it the seller balked and they weren't ready to sign the agreement, I could show some testimonials of people that are just like them in their neighborhood who perhaps had interviewed other realtors. So I had one video testimonial. It was from a couple who had tried to sell for sale by owner and spent months and all kinds of money and time doing that, and then they listed with me, and they're talking about the great result that they got and the fact that they would never try for sale by owner again. I had another testimonial from somebody that had expired with their listing had expired twice with two other realtors, and they'd switched to me, and I had sold their home for 98% of the asking price in under a week after all this time with other realtors. I had a bunch of testimonials about how the guaranteed sale program had helped them. I had testimonials supporting my Sunday tour of homes. I had testimonials supporting my team concept and why having a team was important to them and how they benefited from the fact that I wasn't a single agent, that I had this team. So whatever it is, whatever claims you're making or whatever uniqueness that you talk about in your marketing and in your presentations, ideally you want those backed up because people are going to believe other people before they believe you.
And you can see that from the postcard example that we were using.
So we sent out a survey. Okay, every time we sold a house, when the conditions were removed, not on closing, but when the conditions were removed, we sent out a survey, and then we followed up on the surveys to make sure that we got them back. When the surveys came back, and they came back in a positive fashion, we knew that those were the people that we were going to approach and ask for testimonials. Now, sometimes what you have to do is you have to guide them a little bit. I was going to say coach them on what to say, but you got to guide them on what to say, or they'll give you what I call a non-specific wimpy testimonial. So what you don't want is a testimonial that says, Todd was a nice guy, or we really liked Todd. Instead, you want a very specific testimonial that says, something like I said a minute ago, we had our house listed with two other agents for over 6 months, and we switched to Todd Walters, and he sold our home for 98% of the asking price in 5 days. Okay, so you should be surveying all of your buyers and sellers. Once the conditions are removed, you send the survey out, and you can get a copy of my survey right off the website. You can knock that off right off the coaching website, and when the surveys come back real positive, you know that you've got somebody you should be getting a testimonial from, and you need to have a system in place. You or someone in your office needs to be responsible for getting testimonials, and you can't have too many of them. Right? I've never lost any business by having too many testimonials. But I think earlier in my career, I probably lost a lot of business from not having enough. All right, let's move on to idea number 2, concept number 2. And I'm going to encourage everybody to ask us your questions, type in your feedback, and we'll go to some more chat questions. And then at the end, if we have time, maybe we can take some audio questions as well.
Good. When you were talking there, Craig, I just clicked my on-screen show screen button on. This is a folder on my desktop computer here, and you can see this is a testimonial folder, and I've got a lot of them: pictures, videotape testimonials. Double-click on that folder, and you can see these are all Word documents with just loads and loads and loads of written testimonials of people. So. The cool thing about that is if you look at them, most of them were collected in a short period of time, sometime between 05 and 09. And once you get a gobs of testimonials, you can use them forever. Like you don't have to continue.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was using testimonials. Like if I had a really good testimonial, I would get like 10 or 15 years out of that thing.
Oh yeah.
I remember being at a client's house for like a second or third time, and they would joke around and laugh about the fact that I was still using their testimonial from their first transaction they'd done with me 10 years earlier. So yeah, you can get some good mileage out of them. Once you have a bunch that work, you just keep using them.
Yeah. All right. So we were talking about unique selling proposition. You started the call element, brand, USP, and that sort of thing. We looked at the postcard there and all the little secret sauce ingredients. A lot of our members in the Platinum program are really good at taking those strategies and concepts, applying them to direct mail, to targeted prospects like for sale by owners, expired listings, other prospects in their database. We were talking about that. Here's a really good 4-page flyer that Mark Gastineau is using that I helped him with about this time last year. And just to give you the background on it, Mark was an REO agent, did a lot of business in REO in the Phoenix area. And the REO business.
So let me make sure all of our Canadians know REO, real estate owned, bank foreclosures. We would call them bank foreclosures up here, and that was huge. Mark, by the way, is in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. He's him and his wife Susan are longtime Platinum members. So most of his business was bank foreclosure business, and he was doing well. But as that started to dry up, Mark and Susan had to focus on normal retail real estate again. So and they've been doing the REO, the bank foreclosure stuff for many, many years successfully. And so when that business dried up, they came back to us saying, okay, we've got to figure out how to get like a normal buyer and seller to contact us. We've got to go back to normal retail real estate. And they were very successful doing that before REOs came along. So they decided when working with you that direct mail was a great opportunity. And before we go further into this, you and I, Todd, have had many discussions about the death of email and how email is way less effective than it was even like a couple years ago. And many of our members today are having huge success with direct mail because we know direct mail gets delivered, direct mail gets opened, and direct mail has a higher level of trust than online marketing. Okay, a recent survey in the U.S. Said that of all the different methods that people are marketed to, the vast majority of Americans trusted what came in their mailbox over anything else, especially the internet.
It's a big deal, and everyone needs to know this, that when you figure it out, when you go down that road of using the mailbox of your prospects effectively, you're essentially selling in a vacuum. Like the competition, the majority of real estate agents can't compete with you there. Now, I'll throw this up on the screen here. I got this email from a member in our program, and it's the real estate report. It's an email. It's email marketing, and I look at it and I scroll down through it, and I'm like, this sucks. This absolutely sucks. This is not good marketing. All this is going to do is create opt-outs. There's no offer. There's no unique selling proposition. There's no nothing. And the guys is that, well, I'm staying in touch. And I'm like, yeah, but how many emails do you get every day? And how many do you actually read? And how long do you spend looking at them? And do you retain that information? And there's no shelf life. It's just ineffective marketing. So if we go back and we look at Mark's flyer here, this 4-page flyer that he sends to the mailbox of prospects, you can see it has all the ingredients of a really good unique selling proposition. Risk reversal with a performance guarantee, pertinent information on how it works. He's using doodles to draw attention to specific language on the flyer. His statistical USPs, on page 2 of this flyer, very effective. And backing it all up with testimonials like we talked about. But the thing that I like the most, Craig, is Mark is setting himself apart here from the other agents that might be direct mailing the same seller prospects, in that he's the agent with the buyers. He has over 1,800 buyers in waiting in his database looking for a home in the area now. And I don't think there's another agent that can compete with that. Now, on this flyer, Mark routinely lists 2 to 3 homes every week off of this flyer. That's what he lists.
That's great certainty to have in your business. Can everyone imagine that you've got a mailing piece and you know that every single time you send it out, you're going to get 2 or 3 transactions, just like clockwork. And see, and this is an example of what I talked about earlier in the webinar, is this is what top realtors understand. Our top members do a few things with certainty of getting results. So Mark can send out this mailing over and over and over again. Every time he sends it out, he knows he's going to get 2 or 3 transactions directly tracked back to this mailing. So Mark knows what it cost him to print this. He knows what it costs to mail it, and he also knows pretty much exactly what he's going to make every time he does it. And I like what you said earlier, Todd. You said too many realtors waste their time and they waste money on activities that can't be tracked. In other words, we shouldn't be doing anything that we don't know the return on investment on. Shouldn't be involved in any activities where we don't know with certainty exactly what our ROI is, return on investment.
No question, man.
So this is a great mailing piece, and direct mail as a medium is very powerful. It's underutilized in real estate, but also you need to know what to say in the letter. The letter, the direct mail has to be of interest to the prospect. It has to follow the formula. You have to get their interest, you have to make an offer, and you have to compel them to act. You've got to tell the prospect exactly what you want them to do, and this marketing piece does all of that.
Yep, it does. And, a confession, though, it's way easier if you're a program member to copy these things. So, like the Platinum Program members here, this is Mark's flyer, but, there's 100 members that use the same exact flyer. They just modify it to fit with their stuff. And that's my job.
Okay, we have a question. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We have a question here from Mark. Mark's question is, Mark with a C is asking about Mark Gastineau with a C. So we get 2 Marks spelled the same way. His question is this. Craig and Todd, how can Mark Gastineau say that the home will be sold at the seller's price when we know that every seller in the world wants to over-evaluate their property?
That's pretty simple. If I list a house and I'm making my guarantee to the seller that I will guarantee the sellers of his home at that price, then him and I, the seller and I, have agreed on that price, okay? And every time a home sells, the seller signs the purchase and sell agreement, and the price that he's getting is his price. If it wasn't,
or he wouldn't have signed it, right? So
he wouldn't have sold the house, right?
Okay, so let me answer it this way, Mark. In my real estate business here in Newmarket, if somebody wanted the guaranteed sale program, if they wanted to go into that, I would give them market value, okay, and then I would give them my guarantee amount. My guarantee was always 95% of what I estimated market value at. The first battle I always had, and the first battle all of us always have, is getting the seller to agree on a realistic price, on what is market value. So whether you're offering the guaranteed sale program or you're not offering the guaranteed sale program, the conversation always goes there, right? With a seller, you've always got to get them to agree on market value. And then I would explain how the guaranteed sale program works, that they have to move up and buy one of my listings, or if somebody wants to move up and buy their home, then the buyer would get the guarantee. So there's a couple different ways it could benefit them. I explained to the seller I can't guarantee 100% of market value, because if I did that, nobody in Newmarket and Aurora would even try to sell their home. They just said, well, call Craig and he'll buy it. So I would explain it this way, that I'm offering the seller a guarantee that no one else in the area is willing to offer. And it's not mandatory. This is optional. We could just list their home the traditional way and not offer them the guaranteed sale program, but I will guarantee that their house will sell for 95% of market value. I would explain it like an insurance policy. When you buy insurance for your car, if you smash the car up, they're probably not going to give you exactly what you paid for the car, but you're going to get a percentage of what the car is worth. Well, we're giving, with the guaranteed sale program, we're giving the seller an insurance policy that they'll never get stuck owning 2 homes. We're not offering 100% of market value, but we're offering 95% of market value. Now, if they agree with that, they're going to sign my guaranteed sale program offer. Okay, so all the terms should be spelled out so that you don't have any problem with the seller after the fact. So what are the terms of this agreement? Okay, to get the guarantee, they have to move up and they have to buy one of my listings. I need 120 days to market their home. I need full access. If they've got a big dog in the house or whatever that doesn't allow us to show the property, then this agreement will be null and void. So there's going to be conditions. Now, the price that we agree on, the guaranteed price, is one of those conditions. They're going to sign my agreement. And the point that Todd's making is the minute they sign my guaranteed sale agreement, this is a price that's acceptable to them. No seller can ever go to the guaranteed sale program without accepting the terms, including the price. So that's how we're able to always say that every seller that was involved in the Craig Proctor guaranteed sale program always got a price that was acceptable to them, whether it was a higher offer from an outside buyer or whether it was the guarantee from me. But every seller, before they can go into the program, is signing off that they're okay with the terms of this, that their house is going to sell either way at a price acceptable to them.
Yeah, at your price is just another way of saying at a price acceptable to you. And of course, the condition is I'm buying it as long as I agree with it. So, and if I don't agree with it, we never enter into a listing agreement to start with. So several variations and ways to say that, your home sold at a price agreeable to you, your home sold at your price, and, your home sold at a price acceptable to you. So you use different language, and this is what Mark's tested in his marketplace. It seems to work for him pretty well right now. And I think he did a good job of explaining how that works. But that's how it works exactly. The question that you got from the member, Craig, is what happens in Mark's office. His phone rings. Mark's phone rings, and the guy calls up and says, "Hey, Mark, I got this flyer that says that you'll buy my home at my price. How's that work?" And, of course, Mark closes for a face-to-face appointment. Goes out.
Yeah, how can I tell you what I'm going to buy your home for if I don't have a chance to look at it, which makes total sense to the seller. Now, Mark Gastineau is sitting at the kitchen table now with somebody that wants to sell their home. So let me ask everyone this question. Did the marketing piece do its job? Yes. It compelled the stranger, someone that didn't even know of Mark and Susan Gastineau. It compelled them to raise their hand, contact Mark, and now Mark's sitting across the table from somebody that absolutely wants to sell their home. Now, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, maybe when Mark lays out the terms of his guaranteed sale program, maybe the seller doesn't like the price, but that doesn't stop Mark from listing their home the traditional way, listing their home without a guarantee. But I've got to say this, it gives Mark Gastineau a lot more leverage to get the right price. Why? Because the seller wants the guarantee more than Mark wants to give it. So Mark's not going to bend. If the seller wants too much for their home, Mark's not going to bend. But he's got leverage to get the seller to bend because they want the guarantee. He's offering something that nobody else is offering and something that the seller wants. The seller wants that type of assurance in their life.
Yeah,
Mark's just typed in here. So market price becomes the price of the guarantee? No. The guarantee price is the price that they have to accept. Okay, it's not market value, it's the guarantee price. Now, I would promise 95% of market value, but those were my rules. Mark, you might want to say 90% of market value. Okay, you decide what percentage of market value that you want to promise sellers, but once they agree to that, so imagine I'm the seller, Mark, and I sign off on a one-page certificate. Here's all the rules of the guaranteed sale program, and your condition is, Craig, I will guarantee to sell your home for 90% of market value, or I'll buy it, and of course then you can take the commission off of that. Once I agree to these terms, have I not accepted the price? I've accepted the terms. So that's how we're able to promote your home sold at a price acceptable to you, or I'll buy it. Because no seller can go into the agreement without agreeing that the price is acceptable to them. Okay, so let's move on and we go to the next marketing example that you have here, Todd.
Okay. All righty. So I think the easiest way for me to do that, you talk about, most everybody on today's webinar probably has closings recently. At least one, I got to think of their last 5 closings, probably came from referrals. So I want to talk about the referral marketing system, that's very popular in our Platinum program. And it's really good, Craig. I'll throw up a newsletter example that I send to Platinum members. Incidentally, Craig, around the 15th of the month, I send this newsletter to Platinum program members. I take it right out of my computer, like we just looked at there, and I forward it to Platinum members for them to basically copy and implement in their own business to get more referrals. So it works like this, okay? Referral offer. We've often heard about, referral marketing, and most members watching today's program, they get referrals, but they're not really sure how they get them, why they get them. You've called it before. I've heard you say it, referral by accident. And it
really is true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you and I will have members say, a third of my business comes from referrals. And we'll ask them, okay, well, a third of your business, well, you did 50 transactions last year. So you're saying like 15 or 16 of those 50 transactions came by referral. And then we'll ask the member, well, what specifically are you doing to get those referrals? And the member says nothing. And our response is, well, imagine what would happen if you actually tried.
Exactly.
So you don't really have a system to get referrals. However, 30% of your business, a third of your business is coming from that. So let's drill down and try to find out exactly what you're doing. And if you're not doing anything, since it's such a large piece of your business, let's give the members some specific things they can do to encourage that type of activity.
Exactly. So the first thing is to establish a referral offer. And a lot of the tendency is for members to offer something, like a gift card or some small amount of money or some kind of rebate or some free dinner, to their seller prospects. That's okay, but my personal opinion on that is that when you go down the road of saying, hey, send me a referral and I'll send you out to steakhouse down the road, $50, gift card or whatever, then you've essentially put a price tag of $50 on the referral. And, and maybe that's valuable, maybe that's not to the other person, but it's not a great way to incentivize your past clients and people in your database to really give you referrals. And let's face it, the value of a referral is much more than that. So to avoid putting a price tag on the referral, I just simply told people why it was important that they should give me referrals. And in my newsletter, Craig, and I learned this from you, and the story was real simple, is that, look, here's a great way to explain it. If I said, look, the reason you should send me referrals is because, I need to pay my mortgage, or I got to send my kids to private school. I need to, I want to go, fishing next week, across the country, and I need to buy a plane ticket. So, who do you know that's considering making a move? So me as a charity probably wouldn't work all that well, in their mind to get referrals. So I just used something that I was involved in every month anyway, and there's a worthy cause. Like every year, I would raise money or donate money or give money to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Recovery Center, for example. And the reason I did that is because the Recovery Center, when kids go into the Recovery Center after coming out of their cancer treatments, they're 300% more likely to enter into remission altogether. The funny thing is that the Recovery Center down at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta operates solely on sponsorships and donations. So, I give money to it. So I was like, okay, well, why don't I just tell people that story? Like, here's why. Your referrals actually help the kids down at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So who do you know that's considering making a move? We're on a mission to raise $10,000 this year for the Healthcare Recovery Center. Here's why. So, we donate a portion of our income to that,
Yeah, that's a great example, because wouldn't everyone on our webinar here today agree that that is a lot more important than giving someone a gift certificate for Tim Hortons or the Keg, or just giving them some cash. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about someone's life. So a lot the incentive to refer is a lot bigger because the meaning behind the referral is bigger.
Exactly. So so that's important. So we're just leveraging a worthy cause, to get referrals, and it becomes.
I really like that idea. I really like that idea because when you give somebody a gift certificate or a dinner out or a bottle of wine, you're right. It kind of diminishes the value of the referral. It's in the referrer's mind, it's worth $50. It's worth it's a gift certificate to this restaurant or whatever. But saving a kid's life, what's that worth?
Right. So this is this is one method. So this newsletter, which is a few pages long, 2 or 3 pages long, because there's enclosures in it. And I'll go up here. I'll scroll up, and I'll throw the. Let me blow these up here. I'll just throw the tips up here while I highlight this for everybody listening. This is one of 4 ways that we work with the Platinum Program members to get referrals. You develop your referral offer, and that's what we just talked about there. Now, how do I get my referral offer out there? Where do I put it? So one method is this monthly newsletter that goes to the people in my database that are likely to refer. So this gets back to tracking. Whenever I get a referral from someone, okay, that person's going to get a tag. He gets a special tag, is likely to refer. So those are the people that I send my newsletter like this via direct mail to. I may email it to everybody else, but there are people that are likely to refer me, and I think everybody has an idea who those people are. You tag those people, they get it via direct mail. All right, so that's one method.
That's a great point. Like, all our clients are not equal, right? So you probably sense, everybody, you probably sense that some of your clients would be more likely to refer. We've all got some raving fans. So it doesn't make sense to do the same thing with every prospect. We should be spending more time and energy with the people that love us the most.
Yep. So then it becomes a matter of, okay, I've got a good referral offer. Now, how do I get it out to more people? Well, the second source for getting referrals would be when you go on your listing appointments and your buyer appointments. The best time to get referrals, or the best time to ask referrals, is at a time when your clients like you the most. And Craig, you and I both know that time is when we first take them on as a client consistently. They sign the listing agreement. They're happy at that moment in time, ready to rock and roll. And so that's a great time to take advantage of that happiness and ask for referrals. Well, I don't know about you, Craig, but a lot of the guys on my team would forget to take advantage of that opportunity and ask for referrals. So I just simply created a form and made it part of the listing paperwork so that it was mandatory. As soon as they got the listing agreement signed, the next piece of paper they got pulled out was that referral offer form. And it reminded, obviously, because it was mandated paperwork for the seller to sign, reminded the agent to ask for the referral at the best and most appropriate time. And we just gave them the referral offer, like I just mentioned to you, and the seller would think about who he might know or might not know, and typically involved the phone call the next day because there was somebody at work, he had a phone number or something like that. Referrals went up dramatically just from doing that. So, like I said, there are actually 4 ways to get referrals. There's 2 of them. We don't have time to get into all of them in detail, but it starts out with a referral offer. Now, how can we get that referral offer to our prospects, and when should we get it to them? Again, newsletter, when you first take them on as a new client via a form that you don't forget using. 2 good strategies there, on referral.
All right, let's move on to our next. This is number 4, I think.
Yeah.
Own your own newspaper.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the coaching site, and if that's okay, Craig, and I'm gonna go into the file library. And just for references, Platinum members have access to a lot of category links here. I'm going to click on the Platinum Lead Generation category link, and you know what? I'm going to find it here under. It's got its own category link called Platinum Newspaper Article Pool, and I'm going to download this this newspaper here and talk about this. All right. So I remember having a conversation with an agent in California, and they were complaining incessantly about the lack of community newspapers for them to run their editorial ads. They wanted to do editorials. There was no newspaper. Some big conglomerate came in and bought up the local community newspaper and shut it down. And so they didn't really have access. And I said, well, why don't you just do your own real estate newspaper? So we have connections with publishers that produce newspapers for real estate agents. So we created a template for Platinum members to follow. And I got to tell you, Craig, this is very engaging. And let me explain why it is. First of all, as you're looking at here, this template, East Cobb is right here in Marietta. One of the guys in my real estate company, this is his newspaper. And you can see it's got a kind of a shock article on the front page, along with his 2 best editorial ads. Okay, on the front page of the paper. It's several pages long. But the idea here is to put something in the homeowner's hand so they hang on to it. They're engaged in it. Their fingers do some work flipping through it, and we're just taking ads out throughout the pages of the newspaper. Most of them are less branded ads. There's some branded ads in here, like the back page, for example. I'll throw that up here. The back page is all branded with a big USP ad from the agent. But let me compare it to this. If a homeowner gets a postcard in the mail, he's got about 10 seconds to make a decision on whether he's going to stack that postcard over here on the stack to get to later based on what the message is, or probably toss it in the trash can. So since it's a direct sales message, Craig, you and I know that they have to be predisposed to actually making a move in order to really get response from, like, the postcard that's staring them in the face with the sales message or the offer. The cool thing about the newspaper is that we get to work on the seller over time, over minutes. So I equate it to knocking on the door. If I knocked on somebody's door and I engaged them in a conversation over the course of about 15 minutes there, I can probably convince them that they should consider making a move. That it's what I call permission-based marketing. I give them permission to consider doing it. So this newspaper does a great job of that. Several pages long, packed full of all of our best ads, editorial, display, and USP. And I call it the quintessential farming piece. It outdoes just about anything else that we have outside of maybe a farming newsletter. So, but that's a very strong market. The key ingredients are, well, let me say this. At my house now that I'm at, Craig, I get a real estate newspaper like this from a local area agent, not the one we're looking at on screen, but from a local area agent. But when I get it, it doesn't look anything like this. For the first thing, it's got the agent's big smiling face, their open arms on the front page, and it says, this is my real estate, I'm the real estate agent, this is my real estate newspaper, so automatically it looks like sales material from a real estate agent. Whereas what you're looking at here looks like a real live community newspaper directed or associated with or based on what's going on in the real estate market, big things that impact me as a homeowner. So it doesn't look like sales material from a real estate agent, even though it's the real estate agent's newspaper. So we've created its own brand, so to speak, for the newspaper. So it outdoes the traditional real estate newspapers that the majority of real estate agents use out there that come across as more sales material and end up in the trash can. So, I could talk about this for about an hour, but I think everybody gets the idea. Hey, incidentally, Craig, to send out 10,000 of these, on average, it costs about $5,500 for 10,000 of them. The number of leads generated is somewhere between 30 and 60, depending on the agent, their marketplace, and what's going on there. But that's about the minimum number, and that's about the maximum number of leads that somebody gets on a 10,000 run of these papers. And what most of the Platinum members are doing, they're just getting other people to pay for it because they just sell ad space in the paper to vendors in the area, and it gets paid for, mortgage companies or all the way down to just local people that work on houses in some various form. So huge ROI on that marketing piece.
So that's the key, because I can imagine many of our members, as you talk about $5,000, they're thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. But you're able to teach our members how to get other sponsors to pay for the newspaper, so it doesn't cost them anything. And the lead quality, the 30-odd leads that they generate on average, how would you say the quality of those leads compare to maybe some of the online leads?
Oh, there's just no comparison. These leads, first of all, we're operating in a vacuum. There's no competition. Very little to speak of. And I got to be real careful about this. Don't get mad at me when I say this, Craig, but people with money read the newspaper. People without money use it to cover up with. And that's a fact. The affluent, people with equity in their homes, homeowners, people that have good jobs, make money, that's who reads the newspaper. People that don't have any money, that are poor, they can't afford to buy a house or don't own a home, they just typically don't read printed newspapers. So your audience is a captive audience, and it's people that you want to be doing business with. So I want to make sure everybody understands that, because there is this rush by a lot of members to do a lot of online marketing and advertising. Okay, but we actually do a coaching call, on that, Craig, where we talk about online marketing and advertising. If you're creating a pay-per-click marketing campaign, for example, the buyers that go online to look for houses may be really high-quality buyers, but by design, the average real estate agent's pay-per-click marketing campaign doesn't get them, because this is the keywords in the agent's marketing system. The keywords are Alpharetta, Georgia real estate, Alpharetta, Georgia homes for sale, Alpharetta, Georgia distress sales, Alpharetta, Georgia bank foreclosures. But you and I both know that when we talk to a buyer live on the telephone and we say, hey, what is it that you're looking for? The buyer doesn't say, well, I want a house for sale in Alpharetta, Georgia. They say, I want a 5-bedroom, 4.5-bath brick home with a pool and a finished basement, a 3-car garage in New Prospect Elementary School, somewhere around $500,000. They're very specific with what they want. So don't think for a minute that the high-quality buyers are going online, typing into the Google search bar that they want a house for sale in Alpharetta or they want a distress sale in Alpharetta. Okay, the buyers who type those things in aren't sure where they want to live and what they want to buy. So by design, most real estate agents' online marketing campaigns get those lower quality buyers, people that aren't sure what they want, what they can buy, and this is why it's hard to reach them. The good high-quality people type into the search bar on Google exactly what it is they want: 5-bedroom, brick house for sale in New Prospect Elementary School with a finished basement. And that's what they type. So most agents don't get those high-quality buyers online because their ads or online marketing campaigns aren't designed to attract them. So anyway, so that's a great, I think everybody can get a good, clear picture of that compared to what it is you're looking at right here, sent directly to people who own a house. If they're reading it, they have money and stable jobs for the most part, and those are the kind of people I prefer to do business with, Craig, as my clients, and the quality of the lead doesn't really compare. Anyway,
makes sense. You've talked a lot about direct mail and print advertising on our webinar today. What would you say to members that think, well, Todd, you're recommending a lot of offline strategies here today. What about online? Is it because you don't understand online advertising? I mean, are you the old man in the room, and this is why you're pushing print on us? Because a lot of our members, they do believe that if it's new, it works better than something that's been around for a long, long time. And you're not suggesting that our members don't use online options, but you are suggesting that let's not forget about strategies, print strategies that have been proven to work very, very well for years and years and still work today. Because quite often I'm met with, well, Craig, you know that no one reads the newspaper anymore, or no one looks at the mail. there's members that actually believe that. They actually believe that print advertising is dead, and therefore they put all their efforts into 100% into online, and many of their activities are not proven and they're not tracked properly because this is what they believe. What would you say to that?
I would say that it is true. The majority of buyers, for example, start out by looking for a home online. It's the easiest thing to do, so most people will start there. But the higher the quality of the buyer and the more ready they are to buy, the less likely they are spending it online. So let's make sure we're clear on that. They're driving around actually looking at homes. They're talking to real estate agents. They're probably working with one. Okay, so the further along the process line they get to buying a house, the lower the percentage of people that are looking online to buy. Hopefully that makes sense, and that's a fact. So most buyers start out looking for homes online, but they end up looking at homes offline. Okay, primarily because they're relying on the agent to show them around. So they're spending less time on the internet. So with that, understand that if I go to Google, and we should talk about this real fast, and I type in Alpharetta, Georgia, homes for sale, all right, and when I get there, or Yahoo, okay, there's a lot of ads, sponsored link ads, pay-per-click ads, and and down here under the SEO generic ads, what I'm really looking for isn't there because I wasn't specific on that. But this is what most buyers will type into the search bar when they first start looking for homes. And this is the average keyword, words like this, for most real estate agents. It's just, since it's the most and it's the majority, Craig, you and I both know that we probably shouldn't do it. So my recommendation to Platinum members is, okay, let's advance our pay-per-click marketing and let's create ads specifically for someone. So for example, if you want move-up buyers, okay, then let's create ads for move-up buyers, because a move-up buyer is typing in more specific things into their criteria, like, 5-bedroom brick house in new prospect. Elementary school, okay, for sale. Now, when I do that, what you see happen is the pay-per-click ads, the sponsor link ads almost go away. Okay, but if I can understand what's hot in my marketplace, what move-up buyers really want, for example, since we're talking about move-up buyers, I can easily create an ad for move-up buyers. And it's as simple as just looking at the sold houses. If this is what move-up buyers are buying, there's going to be commonalities in the area, the school district, the price range, the features of the house, and I build my keywords around that, and I build my ads around that, and I may get less leads, but I can reach the majority of them, and they're more likely to buy, and they're a higher quality buyer. So we just advance the ad to be more specific, and we advance the keywords to be more specific. So instead of one pay-per-click marketing campaign online targeting all buyers, then we may have 3, 4, or 5 pay-per-click marketing campaigns targeting specific individuals or specific types of buyers, and they're just much higher quality. So that's how we do it at the Platinum level. It takes some work. It's different for everyone. It's customized. But once it's set up, it can be a real jackpot. So that's how the guys are killing it with with pay-per-click. So yes, I'm a big believer in online marketing, but I'm an even bigger believer in targeted online marketing.
Well, I would say we are totally into whatever works the best, and all of you should be. Okay, what I'm warning everyone against is don't let your preconceived notions get in the way of at least testing things. Because, Todd, we do have members that truly believe that any form of print advertising is ineffective. Therefore, they never do it because they already know it's not going to work. And it's interesting that a lot of the examples that you're taking examples, some of our best examples from Platinum members are in fact print advertising, branded postcards from Warren, the 4-page flyer from Mark Gastineau, the monthly referral newsletter, having your own newspaper. And the next idea we want to hit on, this is the final one, is signage. None of what we've talked about here today is email marketing or internet marketing. Now, that's not to say we don't want you to do some of that stuff. We want you to do anything that works. But to totally eliminate print advertising is a mistake. If you try it and it doesn't work, well, certainly you're not going to continue doing something that doesn't work. But to not test various print media and just assume that it's old school and it doesn't work is a very common mistake we see members make. So let's go to your last idea here, number 5.
Yeah, for sale signs. I mean, like one of the things I ask new Platinum members, Craig, is I say, okay, how many listings do you have? Well, I got 3, I got 5, I got 1, I got 10, whatever. If I pull up in front of one of your for sale signs, I'm a buyer, I pull up in front of it, what is it you're offering me? And, of course, the majority of them say, well, nothing, or I've got an information line or a text writer on there that gives you more information on that property. So I'm like, well, look, how many times can you sell that house? And once. How many buyers can you sell it to? 1. And I'm like, well, then you're probably going to sell the house anyway, even without the sign. Let's use that little patch of real estate there in the yard to get as many leads as we possibly can. That's going to increase the likelihood you're going to sell that home, but you're going to sell a lot more houses as well. And
right, so every listing should get you a whole bunch of other listings done properly.
Right, exactly. So we want to leverage our for sale signs to get more leads. And this helps everybody, for sure. So we're looking at right here, Craig, essentially what is your for sale sign. It's just got my name on it, and it doesn't have RE/MAX on it. But it does. The top writer is calling out to move-up buyers, right? Because this is a move-up house that is in front of. Buyers are driving by. They typically have a house to sell, so that top writer is going to be very appealing to them. So we take a message to target the kind of prospect that we want, in this case, move-up buyers, and we separate it from our for sale sign, use it as a top writer there, and we talk to them. We make them an offer. Buy this home, I'll buy yours. Very easy to understand, and that increases the likelihood that we'll get a call from a move-up buyer. They get curious about that. How's that work when they call? The other big pet peeve of mine, Craig, is the dadgum phone number. Like I don't know about you, but I'm going to be 46 here in February, and 5 years ago, I could read the phone numbers on for sale signs pretty well. Holy crap, now without my glasses, and if I'm not 30 feet away, I can't read most of these phone numbers. I can't tell you how many agents have for sale signs with the phone numbers tiny on there. It's like when they got it in their hand looking at it and they're reading it, they're like, yeah, this is a great for sale sign. And then they go out and hang it in the yard, and they wonder why they don't get very many calls on it. It's because they're making their prospects work too hard. So you got to make sure your phone numbers are readable. It's got to be big so that old guys like me can see the thing. The other biggie is the URL, the website writer. It's common for real estate agents to put their domain name or their website writer on their for sale sign as www.theagentsname.com, like toddwalters.com or craigproctor.com. And I get that because the tendency is that we want to brand ourselves. We talked about this earlier. Okay, so what you taught me, Craig, was to go with a URL that was benefit rich, that told a story, and you're much more likely to get the prospect to take action. So if you look on this for sale sign here and you see newhotlisting.com, well, here's what everybody should know is that on Craig's sign, when I first saw it, and his URL was www.hotnewlisting.com. So obviously I just reversed the hot and the new and ended up with the same thing. But what this tells the prospect is that it creates perception. They can go, to that website and get more information on this property. So when they go there, it drives them to the Get Hot New Listings page on our Success website, which is, instead of getting information on one home, you can get them on all the houses that match your home buying criteria. So it's a better offer than when they get there. Now let's be really clear on that. It's a little more work for the buyer to go to a website via their cell phone than it is to use a text writer or an information line writer. Now, I'm going to give you my personal experience, Craig, on text writers and information lines. Okay, now I'm not telling anybody not to put text writers or information line writers on their for sale sign, but I'll give you my personal experience with it. Okay, I had the good fortune of being able to split test info lines and text writers on for sale signs because I had a lot of for sale signs. On any given day, we would have around 200 for sale signs in our marketplace. Okay, as low as 125, one time as high as 380 active listings. So we could test it on a wide scale. Now, understand that when I looked at my closing report with that many listings, a good bit of our closings, a lot of them came from for sale sign calls, a large percentage of them. Buyers calling off for sale signs. Okay, when we put an information line on the for sale sign, like dropped it in right here below the phone number, we got more leads, but as a percentage of closings in relationship to the number of sell signs, it went down. And all we did was create more work for ourselves to try to chase people down to get them on the phone. We already had those problems. We were already getting enough leads that we couldn't reach. So in essence, what I did is I was telling buyers, giving them permission by saying, hey, look, I know you're getting ready to call me and ask me about the price or to see this home or how many bedrooms it has. I know you're getting ready to do that, but don't do that. Instead, call this information line instead and get all that information. So a buyer obviously would do that. And when they did it, yes, I got more leads, but our closings went down as a percentage of the number of for sale signs. And we had more work. We were chasing buyers down. So we quickly realized after about almost a year of doing that and testing it, that was a problem. So we pulled them all off, and we used information lines and text writers in association with specific offers on a secondary for sale sign. And you can see that here. Like the Everyday Open House has the information line there, but it's specific to that offer. So info lines, text writers, in my opinion, they have their place, but they have their place when it's associated with a specific offer. Now, those are some of the conversations that we have at the platinum level to make sure that we're getting all we can out of our for sale signs. And again, it's not necessarily about the number of leads. It's about the number of closings. And, so we work on that. We make sure that we're doing the right things. But this is a good for sale sign right here. It's a copy of your for sale sign, Craig. I was partial to the radio talking house because they could sit in front of the home and listen to the digital loop on their car radio station without having to pick up their phone, and I could give them a verbal commercial on our guaranteed sale or trade-up program and get these move-up buyers even more likely to call me as a result of having that conversation with them. So that's how we were able to produce more listings out of our for sale signs. But if you don't take anything out of this conversation that we're having right now, if you're a coaching member and you're watching this, if you don't get anything out of it, get this, right? Your URL, benefit rich, and drive them to the new hot listings page on your success website. A topper that talks to the type of prospect that you're trying to attract, first-time buyer or move-up buyer, in a big freaking phone number so that people can read it, like me. And take advantage of a secondary sign. You got that little plot of grass in there, go ahead and put it up there. Tour of homes, information line talking house, everyday open house, radio talking house, but something. So, but Craig, I think that does a great job there of helping members get good visuals on what they can do with their for sale signs and making offers.
No, this is good stuff. And Harry Kimbrough has just commented here. He says, good call, Craig. I hope to see you next month. So we do hope that all of you can make it. Remember, this is free of charge to you. It's already paid for. It's part of your tuition to become a coaching member. And we want you to succeed. I mean, that's why we conduct these training webinars. That's why we go to the time and expense to create these meetings, is we want you to succeed. We want you to get your questions answered. Speaking of questions, now when did you start with our program? What year was it?
I think it was 1994 when I got the Quantum Leap system. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was around 1994. You had just rolled it out not too awful long before I picked it up. I think I attended my first conference in 95, maybe 95 or 96, right in there at the Royal York Hotel. I think it might have been your second or third one, maybe. I first heard your name.
You've been with us pretty much since the beginning.
Yeah. I first heard your name in 1992, 1993 when you were the #1 real estate agent, RE/MAX agent worldwide. And
that was 1991. I was 29 years old.
Yeah, so I remember that. So that's when I said, you know what, I want to make $1 million selling real estate like that guy. So I called your office up, and they, said, okay, here's what you do. And so I made it my mission to just copy you. And I hope you don't mind doing that. You gave me permission to, and I've been at it ever since.
Okay, well, look, so why don't we close our session, and why don't we end this session with some advice from you to them. Let's leave everyone with some advice on what they should be doing. So what advice, parting advice, would you give everyone today?
Well, to make it simple, everybody that's looking at their computer screen right now and listening to us, okay, so let me get everybody's attention really quick. If you're sitting at your desk in your office, or at your home office, look to your right or to your left down on your desk. Just look over there. And if you do not have a list of things that you're working on, that you have the intent doing, then I think you're making a big mistake. The commonality among our most successful members is that they work from a list of things to do. So here's what my recommendation is going into the new year. Your routine, everybody has a routine, and your routine equals your results. So if you want different results, then you have to change your routine a little bit. And the #1 thing on your routine every day should be working from a list of things to do. So create your list, not a long one. Again, you only need, for example, we talked about this, Craig, you only need 7 measurable marketing things to make a 7-figure income, 7 measurable marketing systems on average for a 7-figure income real estate business. You have that list. You have a list right next to you on your desk, and every day you work from that list. And your ability to implement the things from that list will dictate how fast and how fat your real estate business grows. And so to summarize all that would be to write it down and make it happen. How about that?
Well said. Thanks for being with us today. And Andrea, thanks, as always, for doing a great job.